Welcome to the Crewcast, the Crew's live podcast about video games and all things Crew. Join us and many of your favorite crew members as we review games, talk about the new Crew series, answer your questions, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Crewcast. Welcome to the Crewcast, episode 25 for November 23rd, 2013. Today we have Piper, Gizmo dressed as Sean Connery, and myself.
No, John Hurt the War Doctor.
So let's get right to the news. All right, so big news happening as we record this tomorrow. Already happening in Australia and other countries that time zones are so far ahead. But the Xbox One is being released. When you watch this live on Saturday, or not live, when you watch this on Saturday, it's already been released. What do you guys think?
Ooh, exciting. I'm quite intrigued about how it's going to go between Xbox One and PS4. Even though I'm not going to buy one and stuff, but it's still really interesting. So, yeah, it was nice to see who's got the edge.
I think Polygon rated the PS4, which again, I think console ratings are weird. They gave it a 7.5, and they gave the Xbox One an 8. And then Engadget today just had their thing, and they said they picked the Xbox One.
Oh, so Xbox One's won already, and it's not being released yet.
No, I don't think it's. I think it's way too soon. That's just two places that I've seen. I think sales numbers are saying that the Xbox One, which was trailing way behind in sales for launch, because I think they said they sold 1 million PS4s in 24 hours here in the States. They said the Xbox One has got within about 10% of that. So it's closed the gap, depending on if those reports are true. So I think both consoles are great, but obviously competition is a good thing.
Would that be the tell then, how many consoles they sell
I don't think,
in the battle?
I don't think, well, eventually that's the battle. I mean, the problem right now you have is they're coming out at Christmas, so we're going to hear the numbers after the holidays, who's bought them. But generally what happens at launch, I mean, it's not the greatest time to buy any console. These are the first models. They could have issues. I mean, we have heard reports in some of our other segments here are going to talk about stuff. But there could be problems, there can be hiccups, there could be growing pains. And the biggest issue that I've seen from almost day one of playing consoles, going all the way back to the late 70s, to the Atari 2600, when consoles first come out, launch titles at available, games at launch are sometimes pretty weak. So I think it's going to be next year, next holiday, where we start seeing some of the really better tests on where these systems stand.
Okay.
So, along those lines, there's been some issues reported, and this is across the board, not just PS4, which has already been out for a week here in the States, but 360, PS3, PC. Battlefield 4 is having lots of launch problems, lots of glitches. I believe it's still pretty glitchy on the PS4. The PC version's got a lot of issues with some crashes, with player matches and matchmaking and just multiplayer. Have you guys looked into this much at all or heard much about this?
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, it's first I heard of it. I gave it a quick Google, and it was just pages of problems. So
doesn't sound good.
Looks bad. No.
There was a link on Reddit to an article that said DICE and EA were aware of some problems with a specific error before launch and still launched it. I think it was more, the article was playing up more that EA is to blame, whereas DICE was like, hey, these are some issues that we found, or issue, and EA still launched it. So it doesn't sound like they're groundbreaking problems, but you kind of expect more from Battlefield than that. And some people have had problems across the board. We'll see how it plays on the Xbox One, but I anticipate problems for all of them. But hopefully there'll be some patches, and maybe the Xbox people will get lucky. Maybe patches will fix this right at launch for them.
Hopefully.
All right, more console news. PS4. We talked about this briefly in the last podcast, but there was a lot of reports of failures uh, on like Reddit. There was like 6, 7 people posting on Reddit right off the bat with problems. That one poor guy who got one from the Taco Bell contest and was streaming for 10 hours trying to get it fixed, and he ended up getting his replacement. I think the reports were definitely blown out of proportion. I think there's always going to be problems with hardware, no matter who makes it or what it is, and these consoles obviously are going to push it. I think the biggest issue that I've seen myself with the PS4 is they just patched. I think yesterday the 1.51 patch came out to the OS on it, and it's made some things a little bit more stable in certain cases. I actually did have one situation where it locked up on me, and I haven't played with it much since the patch, but I've heard some people say that this fixes it, and I had to unplug it to literally get it to come back to life. I was
Oh dear.
installing. Lizzie wanted me to install DC Universe, I think it's called. It's a free-to-play game, and it's
Yeah.
like 30 gigs the downloads, and it was downloading, and it was about 75% through, and then the screen went black. It was still on. The light was pulsating, but you could not get any response from the console. Even holding the power button in wouldn't do anything. It just stayed that
Oh.
way. And I turned it off, and I'm like, I told my wife, I go, this is when people have said they've had this issue, and then they plugged it back in, and it won't power up. And I was just like, fingers crossed. Plugged it
Oh
back
no.
in, and it came up fine. And then I continued to download where it left off. Um, you know, so I mean, I think problems exist, but I don't think they're anything that people should be worried about. If you want a PS4, I don't think any of those early reports of those few people having problems should be a big deal, because I guarantee you, probably as this podcast airs, there's probably people on Reddit complaining about their Xbox Ones, and there's going to be people who get bad ones. So I think both consoles, obviously, when this airs, I'll have already had played with an Xbox One. As of right now, I can't say much about it because I haven't. But I think both are really going to be nice consoles, depending on what interests you.
Yeah.
All right, this is a big one, I think. And this is Valve announces Steam in-home streaming. What this basically is say you have a computer in your front room on your TV, or even if you're on your laptop and you have a desktop. If those systems aren't as powerful, you can play the game on your main system and then use the other computer to show the screen and allow you to do the controls. Basically, like we've talked about, where the Vita can do that on the PS4 and some PS3 titles, very few, but some. The NVIDIA Shield does that. The one program for Android that I always forget the name of, that Piper figures out for me, that lets you play your PC games on your console screen and use your touch screen, and it even has overlays. Same technology, but it's going to be integrated into Steam. Now, what I think is really huge about this is, we've talked about the Steam OS, the Steam machines, and how we're all kind of excited about that. But they have that one nagging issue, which is if it runs Linux, it won't support all the games. Well, if you've got a PC in your house that can play those games, and you buy a Steam machine and hook it to your TV in the living room or whatever, it can be playing the game on your computer, but putting the screen up on the TV. So now all of your game library is still available to you, which I think is huge. Now,
Wow.
granted, having the games ported native makes the most sense, but this is a really smart move in a sense to get around that compatibility issue.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you guys think? Is this in-home streaming thing a gimmick? Will it be useful, or is it just eh?
I think that's quite good for a lot of people. Probably good for me actually.
Well, the biggest negative I could see would be is if you have a poor computer right now and you buy a Steam machine, it's probably going to be better than your computer. But if it's running Linux, your games are very limited. So you might have a faster Steam machine than your PC running Steam. So if you want to load, say, Skyrim and turn all the details up, or some other demanding game, and then play it on your Steam machine, you may not be able to because your PC may not be capable of playing the game, your main PC, and streaming it to your Steam machine. So that would be a negative for people who have older computers thinking, well, I'll get this. But I think it's a good stopgap. The technology actually that this uses, you think, well, that's kind of crazy, but there was OnLive, I think it was called, which was a company to let you play games, and it would play them on their servers and stream them to you. And people subscribed to that service and played it, and it worked over the internet, and it worked pretty well. People sometimes had issues. The internet's not always perfect. The Vita, there's been people using their Vita to play PS4 games. Like one guy did it on Reddit, posted how he was playing Killzone, I think it was, from home on his home PS4 while he was at his work.
Wow.
So the technology exists to do it over the internet, but I've used the app, say on Android, and it does work well. You can play Diablo 3 on your PC, but use your tablet to play the game. Now, some games, obviously, I wouldn't want to play Counter-Strike Source
No.
on my tablet because using this touchscreen as your control would be a nightmare. But this is exciting, and it was interesting enough technology. NVIDIA created the little NVIDIA Shield, which is a controller with a screen built in it running Android, and it basically uses that same type of technology. So besides playing Android games on it, any of your PC games that are supported, you can beam them over to the Shield. So, and it's a controller, already. So it's like almost like a PS4 or an Xbox controller with a screen. Maybe not still great for shooters, but in that case, you actually have controller with buttons and everything versus just a touch screen.
Things are definitely changing in technology nowadays.
Yeah, this next the life of the current consoles that are coming out now, the Xbox One and the PS4, PC gaming and those consoles and the technology that's coming out is really exciting stuff. It's going to be interesting in a few years to see what the Steam machine, the Steam OS, what it does. How
Yep.
the PS4 and Xbox One play out. Because they're saying those consoles are supposed to last for 10 years, life cycle. If they stay competitive with each other, that'll probably happen. If one of them takes a huge lead and destroys the other one, I guarantee you that other company is going to try to make a comeback. Although some people have reported that they think if Microsoft fails, that Microsoft may just sell or get rid of the Xbox division if the Xbox is a flop. I don't believe they'll go that far because I think they're so into this right now. And Windows is losing ground because a lot of people are using tablets. A lot of people, are using their iPods, their iPads, their Android tablets and phones. People are starting to buy the Chrome OS stuff, computers from Google, which are actually running Linux and are kind of more limited in what they can do, but they're a lot safer. So, Windows is seeing the computer market change because people really like portability. All right, so let's move on. The next one, this is a thing that just happened today as we record, Thursday, November 21st. Minecraft put out another snapshot. Now, there are some little bug fixes here and there, but basically the big thing they added was built-in Twitch streaming, which was talked about at Minecon and revealed. So it's out, and I know some people said they've had trouble with it. Some people said it worked good. But what do you guys think about the integrated Twitch streaming?
Well, I remember when we were there live, seeing it being announced. I remember I kind of leant forward and looked at you, and I kind of nodded. I was like, "Hey," and you kind of looked at me, and you were like, "Hmm." So I think it's going to be good, but obviously you kind of expressed that the way it is already is good, so it's not really.
Well, no, there's really two things to this. Let's compare it to the PS4. The PS4 has the built-in streaming. Some of you guys, I don't know if you two watched, But like Mrs. Boz and Lizzie streamed Contrast one night, and it was really fun for them. Even Mrs. Boz had fun. I mean, she saw the chat, she talked to people. Um, Lizzie played the game. They got help from the chat room. Longshot was in there helping them a lot. Danny,
Aw.
Danny was in there helping them, and it was really fun for them. And that's great because Mrs. Boz and Lizzie aren't going to run OBS and Twitch and
True.
through Twitch or
Yeah.
XSplit. So I love that. And I think this is great for Minecraft too because people who can't figure out OBS, people who don't want to mess with XSplit or any of the other alternatives, or maybe OBS doesn't exist right now on Linux or Mac. There are some streaming options for those systems, but they're not very fancy. OBS is coming out with a new version that's going to work on all three of those OSs. But this really opens the door. So I think it's great for that. What I don't like about it personally is it doesn't give us overlays. It doesn't give us scenes where we can, if we want to take a break for a second, we can pop up an away image or put an overlay with our crew logo. Or if I want to pop up the sad doctor crying, David Tennant crying in the rain, I can. If I want to play music or a video through OBS, I can, or XSplit. There's more capabilities. But one thing it does do that I absolutely love, and I almost wanted to try this after this podcast tonight, but I don't know if we have enough people to just play, is you can link Twitch chat into your Minecraft chat. So the chat you guys see right now on our screen would also then start showing the Twitch messages inside it also. So, and that's kind of something that's nice because then if you watch the stream later, you can see what people are saying. It also could clutter up your chat, your Minecraft window with tons of chat. So I like that feature. And one of the beautiful things that they've added, and I think it's great, so I'm 100% behind this. I'll probably still use OBS, but one thing you can do is even if you don't want to stream with Minecraft, you can still link the Twitch chat to your Minecraft client and then stream with OBS, which gives me the thing that I would love to try and see how useful it is, putting chat in, but still using OBS.
Yeah, there's lots of options. Was the one thing that didn't happen though, the recording stayed?
The what?
The when you streamed with Lizzie, the recording didn't stay up, did it?
That was a decision made by Sony for whatever reason.
Okay.
Because what Piper's referring to is when we streamed the initial playing with Resogun and some stuff, and I think most of you guys were there for that. And Mrs. Boz and Lizzie streamed Contrast, which I think Lizzie wants Mrs. Boz to stream tonight with her. Neither of those recordings showed up in my Twitch archive, and I have Twitch set to archive anything that we broadcast. But that was a decision Sony made, and I don't know why they made that decision. I hate the decision. It's stupid. Because basically, once we stop streaming, nobody can go watch that after the fact.
I don't get why they made that decision. I don't understand.
They said they're
because I
going to
wanted
fix
to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, they said they're going to fix it, and then they're going to make a change.
Okay, that's good.
But it makes no sense why. I don't know if it's just they want to stop people. Maybe this is a theory. It's probably not true. Maybe they were worried about launch day or launch week or launch month issues and people streaming that and then it being in the archive and for everybody to go back and see and people to then use Twitch to send it to their YouTube channels for even more people to see. Maybe they thought, let's fix all of our stability problems, then turn that on, and maybe we don't look as bad if there are issues.
Could be.
Because remember also, the PS4 does not allow you to use capture cards to capture the output of it right now. It uses, remember, they're only HDMI on the Xbox One and PS4. There's no component or anything else. And the PS4 outputs with copy protection turned on. So any capture card will just say, I can't capture this, or it'll be a black screen. So they said they're going to fix that too. But is this a concerted effort from them to save themselves from seeing things captured early on? There's ways around it, but that's that. But I mean, getting back to the Minecraft, the one thing or two issues. One, all these things I talked about that I would like to be able to do. You never know. Mojang is the kind of company that does like to make people happy. So I think they might add overlay support. It might just be like for a single overlay. And I think they might do like it might right now do like a button that you can pause the stream, and if you pause it, it might bring up an image. It may be their own image. Maybe it's user selectable, kind of like with the PS4. When you go into the main system menus, it actually brings up a blue screen showing these little Sony icons moving around the screen. So maybe Mojang will add more features because they're much more willing to do stuff for the customers than big companies that want to wait for big patches or limit your capabilities. But one feature that I don't like, and I hope they change it, none of you guys can stream with Minecraft to the crew channel.
Oh.
The way it works, if you want to use the new feature, you go to your Mojang account, and you have to have migrated your account to the new system, and then you link it with your Twitch account. You don't use an API key.
That sucks.
So
Yeah.
nobody can stream to the Minecraft crew channel through Minecraft except me. You guys can stream to your own channels, but not to the main crew channel.
That's not good. Hopefully they change that.
Yeah, and if they do change it, there might be another problem. They might say, okay, we'll add API key support, but if they add an API key, you may not be able to then integrate the Twitch chat.
Oh.
I'm not sure on that. That's just my theory on how their API works. That, if you logged into the account, you can capture the chat, but it may not work if you're just using the API key, the stream key. But we'll see. I mean, it's early Snapshot. I mean, this is, I guess a slated 7.3 feature. I don't believe this is a 1.8, so they're really looking at getting it in quick.
Oh, that's good.
So
maybe you should
we'll see.
maybe you should tweet them, Buzz.
I thought about
tweeting
Dinnerbone about it.
Yeah, you should.
So, but let's move on because that's just the main news, and we've probably already been through half our podcast. All right, so our crew news. PS4 unboxing video was put up last week where you saw Lizzie and the creeper head, and then me unboxing.
Your arm.
Yes, my hairy arm that people make fun of. Xbox One unboxing to follow. That'll happen if it shows up tomorrow. Then we'll record something and then hopefully air it maybe today also with the podcast. So look forward to that or don't look forward to it. Maybe the hairy arm will make a return. It might have to be two of them because supposedly it's 4 pounds heavier than the PS4.
Oh dear.
Somebody did make fun of the fact that I said it was heavy and then I held it with one hand. So maybe I won't be able to do that with the Xbox One. Okay. Theme server. Piper, what's going on with that?
Our build server came down yesterday and we filmed the video for that we were doing, which was sci-fi. And we had lots and lots of Doctor Who TARDISes and the right plural. TARDISes, I don't know.
No, actually.
Don't know. Unless really, so there wouldn't be plural. So, we had lots of interesting builds, so it was really, really good. We got to chat to a lot of people this time, which was amazing. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. But we're back with a new theme, and I'm going to say Gizmo chose this theme because it's true. And I think it's going to be an interesting one. So I hope people kind of think outside the box. But the theme for this week is oceans. So it could be like underneath the ocean, on top of the ocean, something about the ocean. So yeah, that could be interesting. I'm not sure what people will come up with because instantly when I think of it, I think of fish.
I think of boats.
I think we're going to see lots of Titanics.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my idea. No. No.
Titanic in a 30 by 30 square.
Maybe the back end of the boat with the hanging off of it or whatever.
Yeah,
or something.
Upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking up.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Obviously, people see things differently with this. So, yeah, that's our theme this week. Happy building, everyone.
Okay. All right, next up in crew news, console streaming on the PS4 and Xbox One. As we talked about, we streamed a little bit of Resogun, which is one of my favorite games right now.
That was cool.
And we're going to stream probably some more of that, and then of course the Xbox One it has some stuff we'll try to stream. Also, Mrs. Boz and Lizzie were playing Contrast, and if Lizzie has her way, that will be resuming shortly. Um, so hopefully people like that. I really like the PS4 integrating the chat in it. Makes it easy for them.
Yes.
It only shows a couple lines. I don't know why they don't do like the Xbox mock-ups or when Xbox showed the feature, which isn't coming out initially in the Xbox release. They're holding back on Twitch. But if you look at the streams that we did when you can't look now because they don't archive. The far right of the screen had a huge vertical section to the right, a couple inches, wide downward, where it could have put the chat where we saw more than one or two lines. But it puts it at the very bottom, and you only see the last two comments. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a concerted effort on their part, but it seems like there's a lot of real estate on the right side where they could have put it. But
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's really cool. I think it's neat. Lizzie likes the idea of being able to stream, and of course she loved the idea of being able to play Contrast and then have her mom play with her.
Oh.
And the help that was given to him, I know at one point they had trouble finding something, and Danny was like in the chat typed it was by the microphone, and they went back and it was correct. And then I think Long Shots had some tips for him when they missed some things, but it was
That's
really
really
fun.
cool.
So I mean, if people like that, we'll do more of it. If other crew end up getting a next gen console, obviously we'll try to do some stuff like see Resogun. You can play two players over the internet with each other, but you can't play two players local.
Oh,
So, but that would be fun. So, but
that's a shame.
yeah, I mean, it seems like on the new consoles, multiplayer local has kind of taken a back seat. The only game that I've seen so far that we have that did it was the Call of Duty Ghost has an option for it, but that's not necessarily Lizzie's strongest game type to play. She liked Resogun, which it's fun to like pass the controller around, let people take turns, but it would be kind of fun to be able to do a split screen on that.
Yeah, definitely.
And lastly, in crew news, our 6 to 8 hour live stream is coming up next week. So basically 6 days from when this airs. And what date is that? Is that the
29th.
yes, the 29th of November. So that is the day after Thanksgiving here in the States. We know that might be a problem. Or no, it is the day after. That might be a problem for some if you're on vacation or whatever, going to see family for the holidays. But we hope that a lot of people will be around. Obviously, only America celebrates Thanksgiving, although Canada does have a Thanksgiving. I think that's done like in October maybe or something like that. Maybe September.
Okay.
Any Canadians want to chime in can tell us when you celebrate your Thanksgiving. So, I mean, we're hoping though that people will be able to, pop in and check out the live stream. The theme it gives is what?
It's games that we haven't played before.
Yeah. So,
Ooh.
going to be playing games that either
Like,
we got to take that term a little loosely too, because some people might have played or done a little bit of some of the games, but it's definitely games that we've never played as a group before
Yeah.
or streamed before.
we're boldly
It's gonna
going
be
where we've never
interesting.
gone before.
Uh-huh.
Oh, can we play Star Trek Online?
We've not played. I played that for 20 minutes before.
I've never played it.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Forsaken World 2?
I don't know.
I almost swore at you then.
Forsaken World
No.
2, Henry Returns.
No, no. That when I go to sleep.
All right, so now let's move on. Now, this would have been a great topic if we would have had a lot more people here, but sadly, most people were busy today, or I think a few are under the weather.
Yeah.
So, our main segment. What was the most moving, depressing, heart-wrenching, or whatever TV episode that you've experienced? They cannot be movies in theaters, or even if you saw the movie on TV.
Can we have a massive spoiler alert? Because, like, we
No
don't want to spoil
spoilers.
each other.
No spoilers.
Right.
So it can't
But
be Game of Thrones, which, you have to leave that out. Anything that is going to ruin people who may have not caught up.
This is hard. Well, like I watch
Do you
a
want me
lot
to
of
go
TV.
first?
Well, I mean, I know one that comes to mind instantly is because the Lost finale, like season 6 finale. A lot of people don't like it, but I actually really liked it, and I cried buckets.
Aww. Right.
Well, what about it though? I mean, I want to know like what
What
what it was and what about it.
spoilers?
Well, Lost. I mean, and
Well,
that's
Lost
okay.
was years ago.
Well, spoiler alert. Like, skip like 5 minutes and like if you haven't watched it yet, because some people haven't. Okay, it's just the fact like it wrapped things up in a sense with the characters. Like, I know a lot of things were left open, but that was in terms of like mythology and stuff. But like it ended with the characters. We've all seen it, yes?
I haven't, but I gave up after
Oh my god.
season 2, I think. So
Well, the way that it ended was like they were all dead, and like it was like, the afterlife, and it was all like they all moved on together, and it was just sad. It was just the fact that it was over, and I was like obsessed with Lost. That was like one of the big shows that I was obsessed with back in the day, and like I say back in the day, this was like 4 years ago, whatever, how long ago it was.
so for you though. It was more of a it's just over, not like
And the way that it ended as
a
well.
particular. Yeah, I mean, because I'm just curious. You know, if it was a
Um,
particular situation, scene, or something.
well,
I have a theory for Piper, but I don't know if she's going to say the one I'm going to think that she's going to say.
probably would do.
I mean, if you're going for like an actual moment in Lost, it would probably be Charlie's death in Lost. I was really sad about that.
Yeah,
With the not Penny's boat thing.
because he was like the
Desmond was
first
running
one,
there to the door.
wasn't he?
No, Boone was the first one to die in season 1.
Ah, well, yeah,
Actually, no,
Charlie
I
was
take
nice.
it back. I take it back. When Locke died, like that was when it was revealed that Locke was like the smoke monster was Locke. Like when he came back to the island, that was the most annoying thing ever.
Okay, Piper, what about you?
Well, mine is probably predictably from Buffy, and it
Okay, that's what I
is
thought.
it's the end of season 5 when she sacrifices herself for her sister, and literally I just tear up just like thinking about it because I mean I don't know if people watch Buffy. It was a TV show that was about 10 years ago. Um, but she's gone through all this stuff throughout her life, and then she's on the bridge on that tower thing with the bit sticking out, which I call the bridge. I don't know why. It probably was called that in the show. And she's like, it just clicks with her what she's got to do, and she's like telling her sister and all the like the moments going the music, and then she dives off and she dies, and
I
then it's just like it's really sad and really like I just, oh, yeah, I can feel it now.
I actually reenacted that episode and that scene in my school with some friends in like a drama
Oh,
performance
God.
thing in like junior school.
In junior school,
Yeah.
how old were you?
Uh, like 11, like 10 maybe.
Oh,
We
my
were obsessed with
goodness.
Buffy back in the day. Like our class was like we were the Buffy nerds.
See, now I didn't think that you were going to pick that scene because I didn't necessarily find that scene that heart wrenching.
Which scene did you think I was going to
I
pick?
thought you might pick the body.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that episode is really, really, really good. Really good. And I think I did tear up, and I think I did have tears, but no, actually, there is one bit in that episode which is Anya, and she's like, she
Oh,
was
I
a
hate that.
demon, but it's Anya, whatever, and she's a demon, and she's just been made human, and she doesn't understand about death. This is one person who is close to her, and she's just saying how it's fair, and yeah, that really does get to me as well, actually. You see, I thought the one you were going to mention was Tara.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
okay.
no. I just figured, you know, for me, like the end of that, the one you had picked was kind of predictable because the hero always makes the sacrifice.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
you know, kind of predictable. But like the body, when she came in and saw her mom
Oh,
lying there, was like people were floored by that episode.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Oh, that was horrible.
It was an amazing episode. Just the way they did it. But yeah, I mean, Tara's death was also. I was. I think that one I was more shocked because
I
I did
think
not see that coming at all.
I think the death
But
in the comic is really sad as well, actually.
no,
Or have you guys not
no,
read the
no,
comics
no,
yet?
not read the comics yet.
now because comics
Don't.
actually do in canon continue the story.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the comic version, so that
What about
doesn't
you then,
matter.
Buzz?
Well, for me, it's going to be a show that none of you guys have ever watched, and probably most of our American viewers are too young to have watched. But it's one of the best TV shows ever, and it was called MASH, which
Oh.
was a movie that was made into a TV show. But MASH stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. So it's basically the TV show is set during the Korean War, and it's these doctors and nurses and people who work at this MASH unit, and they deal with all of the soldiers injured, even if it's the enemy or just bystanders. They would deal with situations of helping these people. And now the show is kind of a comedy drama because there was a lot of comedic stuff about it, which partly was these people dealing with being in such a tough environment and getting through it with humor and everything else, but a lot of dramatic episodes, a lot of tough moments. But the one that I think floored me and floored most people who watched it, um, it was a special. They did I think it was like a 2.5 hour special of the TV show as it was nearing its end. But one of the main doctors, played by Alan Alda, great actor, was talking to a psychologist about he kind of lost it. He lost his marbles, this doctor, and he went to the psychologist who was always on the show at times, helping them deal with stress and everything. And he was telling them about how when they were on a bus leaving, they went to like a sandy beachy area for like furlough, and they were coming back, and they picked up some people that lived in the area, civilians that weren't part of the North Korean army, and they told them that the North Koreans were close by. So they had them get on the bus with them, and they were kind of parked and hiding, and they had to stay really quiet because they didn't want the army, the North Koreans, to hear them. And there was a woman in the back with a chicken, because she went presumably to some like market and bought a chicken, that either was going
Yeah.
to be dinner or to lay eggs or whatever. And the main character was like telling her, "Shut that chicken up. They're going to hear us." And she kept trying to calm it down, and it couldn't get it quiet. And this story kind of is told over parts of the episode. It's not like one whole long thing. They keep coming back and touching on it. But eventually, the woman kills the chicken, and now it's quiet, and they get past. But the big reveal at the very end is he finally reveals to the psychiatrist, after kind of having a little bit of a breakthrough, that it wasn't a chicken. It was the woman's baby.
Oh,
Oh,
oh my God.
And
oh
they
no!
needed her to keep the baby quiet because they were going to, the North Koreans would have killed all of them. And the woman struggled with it and then eventually smothered it.
Oh,
And in his head, he lost it because he's a doctor. His whole job is to save lives.
The F word almost just came out then.
And he tried to in his mind it became a chicken, and it just tore him up, and he couldn't.
How?
I've
How have
actually
I
got
not heard
tears.
of
That is
this?
terrible.
I mean, MASH is one of those shows. If you can
I
ever,
think I've heard of the show before, but never this moment. That's
No.
I mean,
what?
it had a lot of great dramatic moments. I mean, that was like a very shocking twist that just came out of nowhere and just floored people when they watched it. If we would have had social media back then, because this was probably, I don't know, mid to late '80s maybe. I really forget. It could have even been a little earlier than that in the '80s. If we would have had social media back then, it would have been everything talked about. It would have been insane because
Yeah.
this show was like the number one show on TV here forever. But it's a very funny show too. I mean, don't get me wrong. That was an amazing dramatic moment, very shocking moment, and they had other ones, but that one stands out for me. But it's a great show, and if you ever can, I don't know if it's on Netflix. I don't know if it's available through other streaming sites or whatever, but uh, it's a great show. It's very funny. I mean, the Alan Alda and some of the guys that are on it are just hilarious. In the way that they prank each other and just do things to kind of stay sane. But throughout the shows, almost every episode, at some point, you hear the one guy say choppers are coming, and they know that means they're bringing in wounded. So the doctors all have to go, and the nurses go into the surgical area, and they know that people are coming in, uh, highly wounded possibly, and they have to save their lives. But it's a great, great show.
Wow, Buzz.
Kind of a downer moment, maybe, but I mean, it was definitely a very shocking thing.
Yeah. Let's go to deals of the week.
Yes. All right. So, deals of the
Um,
week. What?
I'm just freaking out. I just the, Telltale are making a Game of Thrones game.
God.
In deals of the week, Telltale's making a Game of Thrones.
You can buy this when it comes out at this price, so we know yet. Moving on.
We'll have more about that as details. That's a little teaser for you. Probably it'll be in the main news next week. All right, so the first deal of the week is Rage, which is an id Software game. It's free to play this weekend. First-person shooter, mature. So ask your parents if you're young. But you can play it for free. You can install it through Steam and just play it. And then it's $4.99 right now, which is 75% off. It's a really good shooter. When it first came out, some people were a little critical of it. It had some bugs and some issues, but it's been straightened out. And if you like a shooter, first-person shooter style game, it's fun to play. It looks really good. If you've got a computer that can handle the high-end graphics, it's beautiful. I think Giz has
Ooh.
this, but I don't know if he's played it.
I do actually. I won it. In the Christmas event, like last year. You know the coal thing that went off that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won it then, and I never actually played it.
So it's really good. You should check it out. I mean, it's especially now that it's had some fixes done to it. But if you want to try it, people, you can install it for free right now through the weekend. Play it, and if it looks like something you like, and you got $4.99 or whatever, go for it. All right,
Sounds good.
next up, somebody who always makes the deals of the week, the Humble Bundle, have just
Woo.
announced a Humble Bundle Mobile 3 for the Android. Remember, this can only happen on Android. Maybe it could happen eventually on like Windows Phone, but I think iOS on Apple and Windows and or the Windows Marketplace for the Windows phones, and I think BlackBerry with their marketplace don't allow third-party software installations like this. So only on Android, but you can get Epic or Epoch, depending on how it's pronounced. I don't know how to pronounce this game. RYMD.
Roomed capsule. Roomed capsule.
Yeah, something like that. Spell Tower, Swore to Go, Ridiculous Fishing, A Tale of Redemption. Sounds amazing. And Kingdom Rush. So a few of those games are really highly rated. But again, that's 6 games, and I think it's like $6 minimum will get you all of them. And you can bid lower if you don't care about a few of them. But great games. You only get these for the mobile. You don't get Steam versions also. And lastly, on Humble Bundle, I'm not going to go through any specifics, but a lot more games have been added to the Humble Bundle store. So
Cool.
they've been adding stuff like every day. I don't know if they're going to continue doing that for the weeks to come, but there's a lot of really great games in there. And when you buy them through there, you'll get a Steam, link it to your Steam account, and it'll put them in your Steam library for you. And also you help charity. So if there's games on there, they might be the same price on Steam in some cases, but if you buy them through the Humble Store, you're going to help charity also.
That's good.
All right, so let's go to our questions. Now, as always, if you have questions for us, there's a link in the description of the video and in the podcast description if you're getting this through your podcast software. But follow that link. You can submit a question. If you want to submit it as a video, put it on, say, YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. Make it private if you can, which means unlist it on YouTube. And then send us a link to it. If you want to do it as an audio question, put it on Dropbox or SoundCloud or something, and send us a link to that. But we'll take them in any format. But we love video questions.
Yes, I love them.
But our first question is not one of those. And I'm assuming, I don't know if you guys think this name is pronounced David. or if it's some other.
Dawid
Ooh.
VO Minecrafter.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's Dawid or David. He's just trying to spell it interesting, but we'll go with Dawid or David VO Minecrafter. But the question he has is, I want to start a Minecraft server for my fans on YouTube, and I don't know which one I should choose. Buy one or rent one, host it on my computer. Which does the crew use? Well, I can tell you we've used all of the options you've just mentioned, although buy and rent's kind of, depending on what you're talking, it's probably the same thing. But if you're going to have a server that you want fans of yours to come onto, I recommend that you get it hosted through a third party, because you don't want random people connecting to your home computers, through your home IP. Uh, your internet may not be able to handle it first off, but you're giving out your home IP. Uh, Probably not the smartest move. I did the home IP thing with uh, Paige and Abby and Lizzie and me, and early on when I added a few people to the crew, but whenever we did parties or open servers, I hosted them on like Amazon or some other third-party service until we started actually paying for an actual server. Now, when you talk buy one or rent one, in general, you're always going to be using either a virtual host or a dedicated server host. So in a sense, you're just renting their services for however long you pay. When you say buy one, that usually means people think of that as co-locating, where you buy a server or a computer and then you have it installed at a ISP on their network, but it's your hardware and they're co-hosting it or co-locating it for you. That's crazy to do unless you know somebody or you have a decent amount of money. So I would recommend, if you're going to use it with your fans, is look into an inexpensive host. I don't have any to recommend because I don't really try them. You could try Minecraft Realms. I mean, that they've been pushing that at Mojang, because obviously it's their servers. I don't know what the limit was on the player count for them and how many you're looking at, but you could look into that as an early test, and then maybe look into some of these Minecraft hosts. If you go to Planet Minecraft or Minecraft Forum, there's some threads where you can kind of say how many people you want to have on your server and how much you're willing to pay. And a lot of companies on there will say, we can set you up a server for blank a month. And then you can get some ideas on there on maybe how good they are by looking at some of the history of people who've used their service. If it's just you and your buddies, try it on your home system or one of their home systems. But if you're going to start letting random people come on, don't do that. Not a smart move. And your internet probably can't handle it anyway. You're upstream. All right. Next question comes from Craft, Mine, Survive. So
Nice name.
pretty much what you have to do, I guess, if you're playing Survival. Will the crew live stream on YouTube any day? I don't like Twitch very much.
Aww.
We have streamed on YouTube a few times. I mean, we do, because we are partnered and we easily meet their minimum requirement of 1,000 subs. We can stream. I like some of the features with their streaming, but most of our viewers and our fans want us streaming on Twitch. They like Twitch. Twitch
Yep.
is better for one big reason, is there's not a big long delay. You can see the stream and say something to us, and we're going to respond in about 5 or 6 seconds. Whereas with YouTube, it was almost, about 30
A
seconds
minute?
to a minute.
It was long.
Yeah, it was a while.
And that really breaks the continuity, and the being able to have a discussion with the fans versus it being this long delay that destroys it. So that was one thing. Now, I did have one feature that I absolutely loved. I could have everybody stream to my channel from their computers all at one time, and the viewers could then select whose stream
Oh,
they wanted
yeah.
to see.
That was awesome. What game did we do that with?
Was it the 8-Bit Night?
Oh, it could be, yeah. That was really good. Really, really good.
I wish Twitch had a feature like that.
Yeah.
Because typically what we do is I have to have them stream to their channels. I capture their channels and then put it up on mine, but I can only give you the audio for one of them or none of them. With YouTube, you could then select the one you want. It didn't do a very good job when the broadcast was over. It would then become like 4 or 5 separate broadcasts, depending on if there was 4 or 5 crew streaming. So, you couldn't go back and watch it after and jump from spot to spot. You could only do it during. So, I mean, we might stream something at some point on YouTube. I think YouTube works really well if it's a very long, like a live type thing. Twitch does have some rules that when you stream on Twitch, it has to be game related. So if you see people sometimes doing these long streams, where they're showing off their house and then they're going to play some games and they're kind of doing more things that are not always 100% gaming, theoretically you could get in trouble with Twitch, but we still prefer Twitch. I know Twitch is getting a lot of bad press right now today on Reddit, and we won't talk about it because it seems like it's kind of a pointless topic. But there's really no other alternative right now to Twitch as for a pure gaming standpoint. And the consoles are adding support for it directly. Minecraft is. Many games are doing it themselves. So Twitch is not going anywhere and is the leader.
And for a personal viewer, like to view different ones, there's so many gamers out there who are streaming on Twitch. So it's really good. You can just flick through the channels, see what they're playing. So yeah, I love Twitch.
Now, one thing Giz would probably like about YouTube streaming is, at least currently, as I talk about it here, when you stream on YouTube, if people go back and watch it, it has the old comment system. Everything else on YouTube uses the new comment system, but streams still use the old one.
I hate that's
I know,
That's a different topic, sorry.
So, but maybe we'll stream some stuff on YouTube every once in a while. I mean, I would say if we do, it's going to be a very short-lived thing. Maybe YouTube will expand the capabilities. Maybe they're the people who are going to try to take on Twitch. Maybe they'll buy Twitch. Who knows? Seems like that'd be a smart move on their part, because it kind of goes hand in hand with what they do now. But
then they'll merge everything, and everything will be
bad.
They'd probably bring it all to YouTube and make it fit into YouTube, which could be a nightmare. But if we stream on YouTube, it may be once or twice if you're lucky a year. But I recommend Twitch. I mean, it's easy to view on a PC, a Mac, Linux. You can do it on your iPads, your Android phones, tablets, whatever. Almost everything supports it. The 360 has a Twitch app, the PS3, the Xbox One, the PS4, almost everything. I think even the Chromecast is supposed to come out with a Twitch app.
Oh.
So, Twitch is definitely the way to go. And going forward, that's what we're going to focus on. All right. The next question comes from the question mark, which then has a question mark after it, the name.
Okay, that's the awesome name.
I think this is probably like somebody who is trying to be sly and hide their name.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but we'll find you. And the question is, why is the Crew's channel called Crew Gaming Channel, but in the URL it says The Hill Software? Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
It's a good question. It's a valid
question. It's a
question.
very good question.
When initially, before the whole Google Plus integration started, when you signed up for a channel, it was basically the name that you gave YouTube for yourself, your account name. I had no plans on ever making a channel to do YouTube videos on, so my channel was called, or my username on YouTube was Hill Software. Now then Lizzie wanted to put up Minecraft videos, and I'm like, okay, but I couldn't remember what my password on YouTube was, so I thought, okay, I'll create a new one and call it The Hill Software. That's really witty and easy to remember. And I eventually figured out my old password, but so when I put the first videos up, the channel was called The Hill Software, which was all you could call your channel, was whatever your username was. When they added the Google Plus integration, you could then give it a name and link it, to that name, but you always still have the same URL. You can't change that. So that's kind of the genesis of why it's changed. I wanted to change it, and the crew and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Because the Hill Software, I never really liked just that name. It was just my account name. I didn't really want to call it that. And I didn't want to call us the Minecraft Crew because that kind of limited us to being just Minecraft. And we want to be more than just Minecraft. That might be our main focus. But we thought the Crew Gaming Channel We went through a bunch of different ideas. That was kind of what we went with. And then my old channel, the one I mentioned and I forgot the password on, Hill Software, became the Crew After Dark, Gaming After Dark channel. So that we don't use that a lot. We still focus so much on Minecraft and some of the stuff that will go on the main channel. We haven't put a lot there. We'll try to, over time, put more stuff there. But that's the genesis of it. All right, our last question, and it's a video question. Yay!
Ooh, yay!
And it comes from Cody, 11533. And let's take a listen.
Howdy, crew. Cody here again. If sometime during your life you had the opportunity to visit outer space, would you be interested in doing it? Thanks. Bye.
Cody's question: if you could go to outer space in your life, would you? Now let's assume that this isn't Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. This is like your current life. So let's just assume it's pretty much space shuttle, Mir, the space station, the International Space Station, that kind of stuff. Not some futuristic things that may or may not be around in our lives, but let's just assume we had to do it like in the next year or two.
Well, it could be a possibility in the future because what's his face, Virgin guy, isn't he doing space flights now?
Well, they're talking about where they're going to be able to take you up like outside or out of the atmosphere briefly and then come back.
Okay.
I don't know how fancy it's going to be, but let's assume that you could have the opportunity to go up. I know the shuttle program's been canceled, but the Russians still have their thing. But either the Russian method, or let's even say the shuttle, go up, spend a day or two on the space station.
I couldn't cope. Like I barely coped on a plane, so I would say no.
But this is space. I mean, this is different.
This is probably more extreme. And remember, if you don't want to ride a roller coaster that goes upside down, you're gonna be going through some serious G forces, and people do get very sick. NASA's training.
That's true.
Would you do it?
If you were talking if it was a Star Trek thing where there was a proper atmosphere and you actually could walk around and stuff, or not be floating around and not feel all the stuff, then I would. But because just no.
Okay, no for Giz, Piper.
I'm gonna go the same way as Giz. If it was Star Trek, then yeah, fine. Beam me up, Scotty, whatever. But to go up, I mean, I hate flying. I hate it. But you have to do it to go to these places. So, would I go to space though? It would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing. But when you said the G force and that noise, I'm gonna say no as well until the Vulcans make first contact. We'll see.
Okay. Well, for me, I would do it in a heartbeat. That would be so cool. I mean, to be able to go up to that space station, or even just up in the shuttle, and look back and see Earth, and just and know that you're up there, out in space, a place where very few people have ever been able to even go. Unless you're a conspiracy theorist and you believe it's all fake. But,
so you go up there in a rocket and you just hit a ceiling, painted on the clouds.
Yeah. So I mean, I would love to do it. I think it would be amazing.
Would you take lots of pictures and tweet?
And you could go bathroom in space, in the space the space vacuum toilet.
No.
Yeah, but then your poop would be floating around in space, and it could hit some Martians in the face.
No, they don't do that.
Okay, there must be some hygienic standard type
actually,
things.
I believe the urine actually gets recycled into water.
We're drinking spaceman pee this whole time.
So, but I believe the other waste would be stored and then unloaded.
I would hope so.
But I mean, the sun would make a great trash compactor. I mean, if you could just fire stuff off at the sun, it's just gonna burn up.
That's true. Waste disposal of the future.
The poor sun. Leave it alone.
It's gonna burn out in 1 billion years anyway. So, we have to see. Maybe the other crew will post in the description of this video with a I would go or I wouldn't go. We'll see how many others I think Danny would go.
You think?
I know Cameron doesn't like space stuff, so I don't know if he would.
So
And
we'll
he
see.
wouldn't sleep. He'd be like, I can't sleep, no man, I can't sleep. And then snuggle up next to the window. Fall asleep on some guy's shoulder.
That was him on the way home, yeah. From Florida.
But we'll see if the other crew chime in on the video when this goes up, and you guys also could post your thoughts. I mean, would you go to space? You know,
Yeah.
under the current
Space.
conditions, because who wouldn't go to space if it was Star Trek times, you know, or anything
That'd
like
be
that?
so
Everybody
easy.
would do it. But
Yeah.
under the current technology, I mean, it is a risk, and it is not necessarily a simple ride. It's going to put you through some things.
Yep.
But with that, if you guys want to say goodbye, that ends episode 25 of the Crewcast.
Yay! Episode 25.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compass.